Hey, my name's Jim. I'm with CGC Sports Illustrated, and somebody shot me a message and asked if I could create a video walking through the process of how to submit your issues to CGC for grading. I did one of these a couple of years ago, but CGC has changed their web form since then, so I decided to do an update. By the way, the videos that I do, most of these come from suggestions. So if you've got a suggestion for a video or question you've got or just some information, stuff like that, drop a comment here on YouTube, shoot me a DM on social media. Okay, so first thing you're gonna wanna do, clean and press your magazines. I talk about this a lot. I've got a cleaning video, I've got pressing videos. You can go back and watch those. Next up, super important. Every issue should be bagged and boarded. These are what's called bags and boards because you've got a bag and a board. If you don't have any of these, you gotta get some. This is how, we protect our magazines, not only when they're being stored, but especially while they're being shipped. So what you wanna look for are magazine-sized bags and boards. Put that in on Amazon, put it on eBay, in a Google search, it'll come up. But the really important part there is you want magazine size. The default size is comic book sized. So you want to search magazine-sized bags and boards. You can get about 100 of them for, 30, 40 bucks, something like that. And then obviously you're going to need to ship your magazines to CGC. Go back and watch my video that I've done about how to package your magazines for shipment. These are delicate. We all want great grades. We want them to show up at CGC in the same condition that we ship them in. So go back and watch my video about how to submit or how to mail any sort of raw issue. Better yet, an update to that, something that I have fallen in love with. There's a company called Gemini Comics that makes what's called a flash mailer. They work absolutely fantastic. They're what I use now. You can still use oversized cardboard. That works great. I just find these to be a little bit easier. I'll put a link to the Gemini Comics flash mailers in the description to this video on YouTube. It's not an affiliate link. I don't get paid if you buy them. I just believe in them, and I think they're really awesome. The other thing you're gonna wanna do before you submit, do some research. You're gonna wanna know your volume and your issue number because that's gonna come up as part of the submission process. If you don't know the volume and issue number, you can leaf through the front part of the magazine and go to the table of contents. It'll give you the date published and the volume and issue number. You can also usually find it if the magazine's already been graded. You can find that information in the CGC census. But you definitely want to know the volume and issue number. You definitely want to know, is this a first cover? That's what everybody wants. We want first covers. We want that on the label. We want that in the census. So go to the CGC census. If it already says, first Barry Bonds cover, first Michael Jordan cover, first Mickey Mantle cover, then you don't need to do anything. It's going to be labeled that way and everything will be taken care of. But if it's the first cover of somebody and it's not showing up that way, go ahead and do the proper procedures. Again, I have a video on that you can look for on how to alert CGC to get the proper labeling. And then the other thing you're going to want to do is this a variant? Sports Illustrated started doing variants. I believe the first one was in like 93. Did a handful of them in the 90s, really picked up a lot in the 2000s, especially like the 2010 through like 2015. They were doing tons of variants. Making sure CGC breaks these variants out separately in the census is a challenge, and it is on us in the hobby to make sure that they do that properly. So find out if this is a variant. If it is a variant, go check the census. Have they broken these out in the census? If not, follow the procedures. Write that little sticky note on the front of it and say, hey, this is a variant, break it out separately, and then write that on the packing slip as well. So that's kind of all the preparation you want to do before you go to the CGC website and start filling out your form. So let's go do that now. Okay, so here we are at the CGC website. Now, this assumes that you already have gone through the process of creating a CGC account so that you can submit issues for grading. You do have to have a CGC account before you can submit issues. Pretty simple. You go to submit. You click on submission forms. You scroll down a little bit. You want to select comics and magazines. The only way you can do this is through an online form. They don't have a PDF that you can print out and mail in anymore. So here's our form. We're going to select Start New Order. Then it's going to ask us for our collectible type. I'm assuming that these are magazines that you want to submit. Then you've got your options on how you're going to submit these for the purposes of this example. We're going to be talking about mailing them in. So you select mail in or show drop off. Then you select the services that you want. If you're getting your issues pressed by CGC, you want to select that. There are a bunch of different options. For this example, we're just going to go with grading. This gives you their terms and conditions. You hit agree. And then you've got the different tiers that you want to select to send these in at. Now, keep in mind, economy is for issues that are before 1975. So regardless of the issue, if it's before 1975, you have to send it in through economy. If it's 1975 or after, you can send it in through modern. These two options, standard and walkthrough, will take any issue of any year. They are more expensive, but they will be processed and graded faster. So for this purpose, we're going to select modern. And then you can do some pre-screenings or add high-resolution images. We're going to skip those on this one. I'm just going to go to add magazine. So again, this form has changed a little bit since I did my last video. So this is where you're going to type in the magazine that you've got. And it's kind of changed for the better in the fact that it'll pre-populate with things that are already in their database. So for example, let me turn around and take a look here. I've got this LeBron James first cover that I'm going to be submitting. And like I told you before, I said, you need to make sure that you have your volume and your issue number, and you know that. So what we're just going to type in here is Sports Illustrated. And the date on this one is February 18th, 2002. And it's going to pre-populate that. If this is a subscription issue you're sending in, you want to select subscription edition. If it's a newsstand issue you're sending in, you're going to select the one that doesn't have anything after it, which means it's a newsstand issue. So we select that one. If you're sending in multiple copies, let's say I've got 3 LeBron James first covers that I want to send in. I don't have to type it in 3 times. I can just put it in there once. Now, I get this question asked all the time about declared value. What do they mean by declared value? So for the way this works, and you can see this information on the CGC website, for modern and economy, you can have a declared value up to $400. For standard, you can have a declared value up to $1,000. For walkthrough, it's unlimited, but you get charged 3% of whatever the value you declare is, with a minimum of $150. So if you do the math on that, a $5,000 declared value, 5,000 times 3% is $150. So if you put in that this magazine's worth $100,000, they're going to charge you $3,000 to do a walkthrough grading. What I recommend and what I do is I put in the maximum value for whatever tier I'm submitting. So if I'm submitting under modern or economy, I put in $400. If I'm submitting under standard, I put in $1,000. And if I'm submitting under walkthrough, I put in $5,000 because 3% of that is the minimum of $150. So this is a modern submission. The maximum value declared is $400. And then I just hit add magazine. Really simple. And then you can see down here, here's the magazine that I added. So far, I've got 1. This is my cost so far. So what about an issue that doesn't pre-populate? This one was easy, showed up automatically. But what if I type in Sports Illustrated, and I'm going to pick a random date, March 29th, 2013. There's no issue there. So a couple of things. Either you've got your date wrong, or no one has graded this issue before. So when that's the case, you've got this option here that says, I can't find my magazine. So you click on that. Now it's going to bring up this screen. Now it's really important. Again, this is about having all your information ready to rock and roll. Here's all the information that they're going to ask, because you're the first one that's going to be grading this magazine, and the information you put in is going to direct a lot of what CGC does with the census and how they label this. So getting it right is important. We're going to put our maximum declared value of $400 because this is a modern submission. And again, title, this is Sports Illustrated. The publisher I know is Time Inc. This is, I'm guessing here because I made up that date. This is, volume 112, issue number 23. Then you put in here the issue date. Variant. This is where you can request a first cover. This is where you can request, if this is a regional variant issue, you can put that information in there, and then you hit your country, and then you hit add magazine. This process, like I said, has gotten easier. So I can sit here and go review cart. Here's all my information. I can choose my shipping method. I go through that whole process. At the very end, it's going to say print your packing slip. That is really important. You must print your packing slip and include it with your magazines when you send them to CGC. Because think about it, if CGC just gets your magazines, they're going to be like, I have no idea who sent me these. I don't have an order form. I don't know what these magazines are. All of that information, your customer ID number, your address, all of the magazines you submitted and that you filled out on this form, all that information is going to be on your packing slip, and all that stuff CGC needs so they can process this and get it in the system so it can start showing up on your dashboard and they can move through the grading process. If you don't submit your packing slip, it's just going to take CGC a lot longer to process your order. They're going to shoot you an email if they can even figure out that it's your stuff, and they're going to be like, hey, you didn't give me a packing slip. You got to go do that. So really important. Remember to include your packing slip when you ship them to CGC. I hope this video has been helpful. Like and subscribe here on YouTube. Follow me on social media, CGC Sports Illustrated. It's the same username everywhere. And if you've got an idea, something you want me to cover in a future video, please drop a comment or shoot me a DM on social media.